Alright guys, this is Jay. I'm here recording a little shot of culture. I apologize, this is a little weird. I'm actually recording this on my work computer, which is similar to what I had, but my computer took a turn for the worse this last week. I had an ice pack. Rewind. I had knee surgery, so I'm at home recovering from that. And during my recovery, I had an ice pack that was given to me by the hospital actually open up and spill a bunch of liquid onto my computer. And the logic board is now corroded from water. So I am using, luckily I have a MacBook Pro that I have for work that I can use. But I'm doing this in iMovie versus Final Cut, which is what I edit most of our stuff in. Also, most of our stuff is shot on an actual camera and then imported into FaceTime, and I'm recording this straight into iMovie, so we'll see how that goes. But I'm here doing a shot of culture. We said in the last episode that we're probably going to be out for 1 or 2 weeks for various things, and that we would try to get a couple shots of culture in there, so I'm doing that now. I'm going to be doing my shot. I'm not even going to be taking a shot. I'm going to be sipping, but it's going to be a smaller quantity than normal. Some vodka, and this is Tito's. I have a little airplane bottle here of Tito's handmade vodka. We just happen to have, my wife and I happen to have a couple bottles of this sitting around the apartment. She got it as a thank you, and she doesn't really drink straight vodka, so I'm going to be doing this. And the reason I'm doing this is kind of as a joke. Here we're, as we've said many times, Adrian and I are based in the Seattle area, and for whatever reason, here, this is considered a top shelf vodka, or at least closer to the top shelf than anything else. But in most other places, it's not. It's like a bottom shelf, or maybe it's either a well or a call. It's not a premium. So I'm gonna have this to see how it is. I'm putting it actually in my Red Hook tasting glass. Instead of doing a shot, because an airplane bottle's a little bit more than a shot, but it's alright. I would say it's easier to drink than maybe straight Smirnoff or something like that. Actually, that's a lot better than I thought it was going to be. It's no... Oh crap, I can't think of it right now. We had a really good vodka on our very first episode that Adrian got from Woodinville Distillery, Peabody. It's not a Peabody, but I would say it's much closer to a Peabody than it is to like a Smirnoff. So check it out, I guess. Unfortunately, if you're in the Seattle area, you're going to pay a premium for it. Anywhere else, you're going to buy it fairly cheap. So I am now on day, what is this? 8. Day 8 of my recovery. I had my knee surgery 8 days ago. One of the things, and by one of the things, the only thing I've really been doing for the last 8 days is working my way through my Netflix queue. I've been able to watch a lot of stuff that's been on there. I haven't really got any comic reading in, because that would require me either A, going to the comic shop, which I haven't really been able to walk, so I haven't done, or B, spending money, which I haven't really wanted to do because I've been out of work during this. So I've pretty much been watching a bunch of stuff from Netflix since I'm not paying anything extra for that. So I'm going to catch you up on some of the stuff that I've been watching and give you a little bit of how I feel about it, and then we'll go from there. So I have a list of things I've watched here. It's ridiculous how much TV I've watched. We're talking probably 12 to 15 hours a day of TV. Fuck my life. Alright, so one of the things I watched was Season 1 of Girl Meets World. I was a huge Boy Meets World fan. Back in the day, that was like, I was at the right age where that was, it was a very, very appealing show to me, because I was going through, I would say they were like 2 to 3 years ahead of me as far as what their age was portrayed to be, so I was going through a lot of the same things as they were as far as junior high, high school, college, that sort of thing. So for those of you who aren't familiar with Girl Meets World, this is a new show that is sort of a revival of the old show. It takes Corey and Topanga, who were the two main characters, and got married in the show. They are now grown and they have children of their own. So we're now following their daughter through some of her adventures. It's made by the Disney Channel, so it's a lot different tone than Boy Meets World was. Boy Meets World was an ABC show, which ABC is now owned by Disney, but I would say this has a lot more of a feel of, I don't know, maybe like an iCarly, or I've never watched Hannah Montana, but kind of that sort of thing where it's a laugh a minute type thing, and the situations they get themselves into are, I would say, a little bit more ridiculous than the things that the characters from Boy Meets World got into. But overall, I thought it was a good show. Season 2 is going to be up on Netflix in like early April, I think. So when that comes up, I'll probably watch that. Another thing I watched is Young Justice. I'd watched probably half a dozen episodes of this before. I had the whole thing available to me. I just had never actually sat down and watched it. But I had a lot of time now, so I sat down and watched it. This is a great, great show. For those of you that aren't familiar, Young Justice it's an animated show about essentially the sidekicks in the DC universe. So all the sidekicks get together and form their own team. So you've got Aqualad, you've got Robin, you've got Kid Flash, you've got Miss Martian, I think is what they call her. Like the young Martian girl that's Martian Manhunter's sort of niece, but not really. You got Superboy in there. So they all get together and they make a team and they start their crime-fighting careers on a team. Season 1 it's kind of a little bit lighter. Season 2 gets very dark, and there's some stuff that, like, there's mind control and people being traitors and things like that. The show was canceled after Season 2, which I know a lot of people are very upset about, because it was a really good show and it had a really good following. It was on Cartoon Network, and they discontinued the show after Season 2. And even now, a few years later, there's still a big push for them to do a Season 3. And now there's rumors going around within the last few weeks of Netflix possibly picking it up and doing a third season. And some of the creators that worked on the show are saying that if that happens, they would be more than happy to jump right back in and keep doing the show. If that happens, I'm into it. One of the things I've noticed a lot lately, which I'm kind of almost getting tired of, is Netflix has brought back a few shows. They have, obviously, Fuller House is essentially a continuation of an older show. They brought back, and they did another season of Arrested Development, and there's a couple shows they've done that with, and now it just seems like the status quo is, oh, there's a show that's not on anymore that we want to be back on, we'll just have Netflix do it. Like, that just seems to be the general attitude of the viewers. Not necessarily Netflix saying, we'll do whatever, but it's now, oh, we'll let Netflix revive something. And I'm not sure how I feel about that. Like I talked about on previous episodes, I really liked Fuller House. I thought that was good. People had a lot of issues with Arrested Development. I never made it that far into the show yet, so I don't know how that fourth season ended up. But if Netflix can do this and make good shows, I appreciate it. If they're just doing it to get viewership, then don't. But so another show I watched or finished, which I'd started, was the LA Complex. That one wrapped up after 2 or 3 seasons. I really enjoyed that. I thought it ended pretty well. I mean, it was Melrose Place-ish, but it was good, and it was nice to see some of the Canadian actors and actresses I'd seen on other things be in that. And yeah, it wasn't too much effort to watch that, so that was good. It's on Netflix. Watch that. I finished season 4 of House of Cards. I thought this season was really, really good. Season 2 I thought was not good. Okay. Season 1 was really good. Season 2, not good at all. Season 3 was pretty good. I thought Season 4 was on par with Season 1. So if you like Season 1 of Netflix, or of House of Cards, but Seasons 2 or 3 kind of put you off of it, I encourage you to get all the way through to Season 4 so you can watch that. I think that'll reinvigorate you into the series. Let's see, what else do I have? Oh, the wife and I watched Cooked. Adrian talked about this one in the last episode. It's a 4-part documentary miniseries that Netflix produced, all about kind of how cooking is represented in different cultures. And each episode represents a different element. So you've got fire, water, wind, and earth. I think that's the order it goes in. And each episode kind of focuses on a different culture and says, hey, in this culture, this element is important to their cooking. here's kind of how this started, the genesis of it, and what it means for them today. And it goes all the way through. It does have like a moral, like, hey, we should stop eating commercial food, like fast food and stuff like that, and do more cooking ourselves, and here's why. But I will tell you, like, at the end of watching the 4 episodes, my wife and I watched it in one night. At the end of the 4th episode, we're both like, fuck, we need to cook more. Which is hard for us here because we have a very small kitchen. You can actually see our kitchen. I'm pointing the wrong way. There's our microwave over there. This small area behind this wall is our kitchen. So you've got like a galley-style kitchen. It's not a lot of space to cook in, which is disappointing for me because I actually really enjoy cooking and making different things, experimenting with that. I don't have a lot of room to do it here, but I need to stop making that excuse and do it more. But I definitely encourage you guys to watch Cooked. It's great. It's 4 episodes. They're, I think, 50 minutes each, so you're talking about a 3.5 hour commitment to watch these 4 episodes. And I think it'll definitely give you an appreciation for, how, I hate to say lazy, but lazy we've gotten here in Western culture, especially in more urban areas where there's definitely a lot of options for us to quickly go and get something, as opposed to, somewhere that's a little bit more rural where you are definitely dependent on yourself to get things. So, what else did I watch? Literally right before I finished recording, or started recording this, I finished the show Hemlock Grove. For those that don't know, it was one of the earlier on Netflix original series. It had one of the main characters in it was Famke Janssen. I'm probably saying that name wrong. It's probably like Famke Janssen or something like that. But she was like Jean Grey in the original X-Men movies. It also had Dougray Scott and one of the I can't even remember the name now. Anyways, it started off, first season was well enough. It was kind of a vampire versus werewolf thing, which I didn't really realize until about halfway through the first season. And it's probably riding on the coattails of Twilight. But I think by the end of the show, by the end of the 3rd season, I went 3 seasons, 33 episodes. By the end of it, I was like, I really just want this to be over with. I think the problem it had was, I think Netflix put out this first season, and they're like, here's an idea we have, we're going to throw it out there. And then there was probably pretty good fan response to the first season. And they're like, well, okay, people liked it, let's make another season. And people liked the second season, let's make another season. And I think the problem was, I don't think there was enough good plot threads to grasp onto after that first season. So I think seasons 2 and 3 maybe had different writers or something like that, but they didn't have the original ideas that they had in season 1. So they were like, how can we keep going with this? And it got into some weird incestual things, and it got into some weird, hey, there's this weird virus that's affecting vampires. It got really weird. So like I said, I think season 1 was really good. I think seasons 2 and 3 declined as they went on. So if you're going to watch it, definitely watch the first season. If you don't watch anything after that, that's totally fine. If you do watch from there, just know that it's not going to be as good. So those are the TV shows I watched. I watched 3 movies also. I only enjoyed one of them. Let me start with the worst. I watched American Hustle. And by watched, I mean I got through 2/3 of it and then turned it off. This was a movie that when it came out, I watched it and I'm like, oh, that looks really good. I never went and saw it in theaters, never got around to getting the DVD. I finally got the DVD. I got half an hour into it, and I'm like, this is fucking terrible. It's like an hour and a half or 2 hour. I think it's like a 2-hour movie. And I struggled through like another hour of it before finally I'm like, I am wasting my time. I'm turning this off. The acting was not great in it. The plot was really bad. So yeah, I didn't even finish it. I couldn't tell you how that one ends. But I'm assuming not well, because the whole movie was not well. So I turned that off partway through, sent it back. The next movie I got was Spring Breakers. And I know you're laughing at me right now, because it's fucking Spring Breakers. It's not going to be a good movie. But I wanted to watch it because there were some attractive women in it. And as I've mentioned before, I often watch movies because of the actresses and the fact that I find them attractive. So I'm like, oh yeah, Selena Gomez, no problem. uh, Ashley Benson from Pretty Little Liars, which we all know that I watch. Yeah, sure. It was not at all what I thought it was. I'm sitting there watching this movie. It's an hour and a half long movie. Half hour in, I'm like, has anything happened yet? Like, there has to be something that happens soon to actually move this plot along. Because I knew the plot of the movie. I'd read the synopsis. I knew that they go on spring break, they get mixed up with this drug dealer, and now they're, like, working with him, whatever. It's an hour into the movie, and they've barely even brought the drug dealer into this at this point. And I'm like, there's a half hour left of this movie. Something needs to happen. I would say another 15 minutes goes by before anything of actual value happens. So now I've got 15 minutes from the climax point of the movie to the resolution. And the resolution was terrible. So yeah, I wasted an hour and a half of my life on that movie. I won't make that mistake again, but it's already done. I can't take it back. So there goes an hour and a half. The third movie I watched, the last thing I'm going to talk about, is I watched Jobs. This is I think it was like a 2012 or 2013 movie about Steve Jobs. It's not the one that just came out with Michael Fassbender playing Steve Jobs. It's the one with Ashton Kutcher playing Steve Jobs, which when it was first announced, I was very hesitant about, because I don't really think Ashton Kutcher plays a serious role very well, at least in things that I've seen him in where he's trying to be serious, like Butterfly Effect or whatever that shit was. But I watched it, and the reason I watched it is because I've been an Apple junkie for 20, 25 years. The school that I grew up going to had all the Apple computers because they were donated by Apple, and that was during that time where Steve Jobs wasn't really involved in the company. But I had a home computer, there was an Apple, and I saw the resurgence of Apple in the late 90s when Steve Jobs came back, and we had things like the iMacs, and we had the first iPods, and now Apple is the most valued. It's either the most valued or the second most valued company in the world. I think Google may have passed them now, but it's right there. So I've read, the Steve Jobs biographies and things like that. So I was interested in seeing this movie, and I think Ashton Kutcher did a really, really good job of playing this man who, in his life, just strived to have good, aesthetically pleasing working things. He wanted art and technology to meld, and I think Steve Jobs did a really good job of that. So this was a good movie. I would recommend it. I have coming soon, I think it's called Steve Jobs. Whatever the one with Michael Fassbender is, the DVD just hit Netflix, so that's coming, and it'll be here Monday or something like that, so I'll watch that. So next time I record, I'll let you guys know what I think about that, and I'll kind of compare the two. I think that's all I've watched. I made a list. I went through. I made a list. I think that's everything I've watched. I've probably left something out. We've been watching The Voice, which is not something we normally do, but it's interesting. Since I don't have my computer, I lost a lot of the stuff that I had to watch. So we were watching that on Hulu. That's pretty good. Talented people on there, more talented than me. So yeah, I think that's about it that I have to talk about. It's currently Saturday, what is today's date? Saturday the 19th. I don't think we're recording this Wednesday again. I might try to record another one of these between now and the 2 Wednesdays from now when we record again. I don't know what that date is. Fuck if I know. I'm going back to work for the first time on Monday, and I don't even know what day that is. But so that's it for me. I will see you guys next time. Again, Tito's handmade vodka, not as top shelf as they make it sound in this area, but not bad. So how about you? See you next time.